What's up guys, it's the bearded wonder Gabriel here, coach of the Galuxray, and I know it's been a little bit delayed and I truly apologise. Life happens. I'm going to be delayed with some of my videos from now on at the moment until I can properly sort out my channel and find the time to do so. But this is actually week 8 match of the TBU against Animaarruuu. I didn't do a team preview because I haven't had the time, but I'll go through very briefly what I brought. So, Pokemon I brought: Escavalier, Chestnut, Azumarill, Rotom H, Uxie, and Mega Altaria. Now, my Escavalier was Assault Vest, kind of a typical set really. Chestnut was physically defensive, but with a Yachi Berry for against the Greninja with Ice Beam if she brought that. Azumarill was Assault Vest as well, awesome. Rotom Heat was Choice Scarf. Uxie was Leftovers, I do believe, and was Screens, sort of a typical set, and my Mega Altaria was D-Dance, Cotton Guard. So, that's very briefly what I'm bringing. Now let's actually have a look at what Animaarruuu has brought as well. Okay, so at first glance when I saw the team, it was actually pretty spot on of the kind of Pokemon I expected her to bring. I did expect her to bring a very offensive team because I'm a very defensive player, and it's exactly what she did. So she brought Mega Medicham, Heliolisk, Latios, Bisharp, Greninja, and then her Powdon for the bulk. The first thing straight off the bat that I have to worry about from there, Medicham is an absolute beast. I don't understand how that thing is underrated because it is one of my favourite mons. It's one of my favourite Megas by a mile. It is incredibly strong. And I think it's top of the MVP race currently as well. It's doing amazing for Animaarruuu, so she had to bring that. Heliolisk was my only kind of surprise. I was kind of 50-50 whether she'd bring it, but it's a mon that I literally was going to take the turn of the draft that she took it. She was 3 picks before me at that turn, and I was going to take it, but I ended up taking Rotom H instead. And then, of course, Likely Threat in Greninja, the Bisharp there because it's got the Sub-Steel attack, and Latios because it's just dead. Good. A Powdon because it is a great bulky Pokemon and she needed it because that is a very offensive team. So without further ado, anyway, let's have a look at how the actual battle went on. So looking over her team, it was quite obvious with the leads. Either it was going to be the Mega Medicham with the Fake Out or Bullet Punch, or it was going to be the Heliolisk, and either way I wanted to get my Uxie in there because it can set up screens or it can get rocks. And she does lead off with the Heliolisk. That gives me the tiniest hint that it may be Scarfed, and not gonna lie, that's exactly what put in my mind. I thought that's probably Scarfed with the leading off with it. So I mean, it wasn't exactly a big tell, but it was something. She comes in with the Bisharp on my wide screen. I can take hits from this all day long, and I do outspeed as well. So on the Bisharp, knowing it's probably not going to go for Sucker Punch and that I can take one, I'm going to get the U-turn and get straight out of there, bringing in one of 2 mons that could properly deal with this, either the Altaria, predicting the knockoff of course, or my Chestnut, and the one I'm bringing is the latter. She does not want to stand against this, and the item is a Yachi Berry. It's not too important, but it does mean sadly there are going to be no shenanigans today protecting myself against an Ice Beam from Greninja. She doesn't want to stay in against this, that's obvious. Of course it's not going to be able to take a Drain Punch, and she does switch out, knowing that of course, there's too many of courses there. I do actually go for the Leech Seed just to try and get a little bit of damage on whatever wants to come in. She does come in with a Latios. Now at this point, I've got a choice. Either I can switch out, which is predictable, or I can go for Spiky Shield, which is quite predictable as well. I do click Spiky Shield thinking if she switches out, if she goes for an attack, I'd rather know and have advanced information for the next turn rather than switching in another threat to take damage from the Latios. And that's exactly what happens. She does actually do the double switch and brings in the Powdon, which is great for my Chestnut, which manages to get the Wood Hammer off on her rocks, setting up on the next turn. Of course, at this point now though, does she really want to stay in and let her Powdon go down this early? Probably not. One thing I should know about the Powdon though, because it did actually stick in my mind, no Sandstream. That's quite important information because it affects something later on, and also it's kind of like, does she have Sandstorm or something else? I wasn't too sure. I do go for the Wood Hammer again though on her switch out. She goes back into Latios, so we do some okay damage, it's not too bad, but I don't want to stand against this again. The Spiky Shield's too predictable. She can just fire off an attack now and basically just do a bit of damage. She does exactly that on my counter. Straight into this is my Escavalier. It can take hits from this all day long, even a Hidden Power 5 if she wanted to bring that. And she actually shows me the Thunderbolt. So that tells me of course she knew I was going to switch out, most probably into the Azumarill with her doing that to take the Dragon type attack, and I bring the Escavalier in with Pursuit. Now I thought she would actually go down to that, but Calcs meant she probably low rolled me a little bit too much. But we do leave that so that rocks, if she comes back in, would kill it if I had them up, so setting them up wouldn't be too bad of an idea, and it is basically dead anyway, so she's got it as fodder. I don't want to stand against the Hippowdon, especially a physically attacking one. I kind of want to get out of there, so once again I switch out and I go into my Sid, into my Chestnut, which can take hits from this all day long. It can also hit back ridiculously well. She knows I'm going to switch though, she actually goes for the Whirlwind. Amber's playing this really well, I predicted me very well at the moment. We do very luckily get switched out into the Azumarill though. Azumarill's going to be able to kill this without any fault whatsoever, even with that leftovers recovery from Flossie. I was about to call it Frank, but that's my Pokemon. But she does outspeed, meaning she can get the Earthquake off and do a little bit of damage to this. That's fine. It does put me in range where a Medicham can kill me with a Poison Jab now, which kind of sucks, but it's not too bad really. And we do end up taking the Flossie down. There's her most defensive Mon gone, and you know what? That's a big threat. It's something I had trouble dealing with, to be completely honest with you, so I'm glad to get that out of the way early on. She comes in with a Medicham to try and revenge kill this. That's what Medicham does. It is awesome, and I don't want it to take hit. So I switch straight back out into Sid, 1 to scout the move, 2 to sack it off if I really need to. Now I could have gone into something else, but I didn't really want much else taking too much damage. The Escavalier would have probably been my best choice in that regard, but at the same time, if he had the Fire Punch, I would completely and utterly get decimated by it, and I didn't want that to happen because my Escavalier is really damn important. So she does reveal, the Medicham, does reveal that she is Poison Jab. That's not really good information, is it? I already pretty much knew it was going to be poisoned by Jab. It wasn't going to really be Ice Punch in that situation. And of course, we come in with Uxie to take the next hit. She's going to withdraw. She wants no damage from the Uxie, and it's the perfect chance for me to set on my next screen. So I do end up setting up the Reflect on her switch back into the Bisharp. Once again, mind games now. I'm going to hit that U-turn. She's going to expect me to either stay in predicting that she'd think I'd do the U-turn, or I can just get out. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to get out there. She plays this extremely well. Now the Pokemon I need to go in here is the Altaria, because the Altaria is the only selection that can take hits from this all day long. And she fires off the best attack she possibly could, and that is the Stone Edge. She does connect with it. I'm spoiling a little bit ahead here, but she does connect it, and it does a large chunk of damage. Of course though, Calkin, Reflect Up, I can hit any hit from this. Take any hit whatsoever. There's a perfect chance if I hit Roost. All I need to do, hit Roost and back out of range, and I can start setting up against this without any trouble whatsoever. She goes to the Iron Head, that's perfectly fine. He does leave me on lowish health, but the Roost gets me straight back up. Now all that has to happen is she needs to not flinch, and I can set up my, at this point was Cotton Guard, and then go for Dragon Dances all day long. She does hit with the second Iron Head, as I do click to go for that Cotton Guard, and she gets the flinch. Yeah, massive problem for me that was. It meant that I couldn't set up, because if I set up against this, I could have most probably swept the team, and it would have been absolutely amazing for me to do so. She goes for the Iron Head again, of course, because she would have taken my Altaria out without speeding it as well. My Altaria was a defensive Altaria, that's why I didn't have speed EVs to outspeed that as well. I probably should have calculated that a little bit differently. Maybe it would have been a good idea. I'm going to go for the Mega Horn against anything that was to come in, because there is nothing on her team now that really wants to take a stab Mega Horn from this ridiculously powerful one of an Escavalier, and that's the perfect chance for her to sacrifice off her Latios. She comes straight back in now with the Medicham. I can't take the risk again that she's got Fire Punch, because it's a possibility, so I do have to switch out, and I'm going to go straight into the Altaria. The Altaria is there because I know that I'm going to sack it off. There's nothing on her team now that I can outspeed to get a Roost off against. And that sucks. It sucks so badly, because it would have been so good, but unfortunately it does go down. I'm going to come straight, well, after that, of course, it goes down. I've got another Pokemon to bring in against the Medicham, and the best choice I've got is my Easy Bake, my Rotom, the Choice Scarf, and just do as much damage as possible. There was a chance my Overheat would KO, but I didn't want to take the risk of it missing or of it not KOing and have my Rotom dead, because it is so important. I'm going to get the Volt Switch out of there, go into my Uxie to take any hit this wants to go for without any trouble whatsoever, and she does decide to go for the Drain Punch. That's fine. I didn't want her taking too much health back, and Uxie's going to be able to eat that up all day long. And once again, I can start getting my reflex back up, my light screen back up, especially because my reflect has just worn off as well. She's going to withdraw on me setting up once again and going into that bishop, which is her counter to this. I can't do any damage to it whatsoever. She knows that now, seeing the screens, but I can definitely set up against it. So there, first of all, you're going to see the reflect. Now, she predicts me to go for the U-turn there. This is where I try and change it up. White screen all the way. Now, once again, I do outspeed. So at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? If she's going for the knockoff or sucker punch, get my rocks up. That is perfectly fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And she does reveal to me she goes for the knockoff, predicting me to stay in and to sack this off. That's fine. That's exactly what I was doing. I do end up living, but I can't do any damage to this whatsoever anyway. It would die to rocks on the coming back in, so I just went for the U-turn, and she knew sucker punch was coming. That's perfectly fine. It had done its job, setting up both screens and making this endgame a little bit more troublesome for Anima. That is the point. I'm going to come in with Kane now. Kane can take any hit whatsoever, and I can smash through with a Mega Horn. She goes for the knockoff, getting rid of my Assault Vest. Now that's a good play, because of course I can't take hits too well from the Heliolisk anymore, but it does mean that Bishop goes down, and there's a big threat gone. It's dealt with the Uxie, which is fine, but I do have screens and I do have reflect set up from it, so I have no problem. I've also got the rocks as well. This is where she comes in with her Greninja. That reveals to me, of course, it's most probably got HP Fire, but I'm still going to try and do some damage. She shows she has the Protect. Perfect time for it to try and wear down those screens and that reflect as well. But I'm just going to keep hitting that Mega Horn. I'm just going to try and do as much damage as possible if she does make a mistake and switch, or if she does make a mistake and not hit an attack somehow. That was never going to happen though. She does hit the HP Fire. I mean, it's good information to know that she has it, but it's information I kind of expected, especially with the switch in as well. She also reveals that it is Life Orb, so it's going to do a hell of a lot of damage. I'm going to come straight back in with my Azumarill, because this Azumarill is Assault Vest. I can take hits from this all day long. It would have no trouble taking it, and I can definitely hit back. She's going to go for the Protector to wear down another turn of Reflect and another turn of Light Screen to try and wear those away so that the end game is not as troublesome for her whatsoever, and that makes the most sense. I do on that point though, of course the Reflect does wear off, which kind of sucks. She goes for the Hydro Pump. I'm going to be able to eat this up for days. I've clicked Play Rough, I do believe, because it can KO this, and it can do it can pretty much KO anything that wants to come against it. Would have no trouble whatsoever. Sorry. The Play Rough is going to take down the Greninja without any trouble, and it does leave me with 2 mons left. And this is where the end games get a little bit troublesome. There's a lot of mind games going on, my screens are gone, I can't take as many things, and she comes back in with the Heliolisk. At this point I probably may have made a mistake, and I'll go through it at the end. But she goes, I go for the Aqua Jet, because I saw Sandstream wasn't on her powered on earlier on, so I thought maybe it's not Dry Skin. It made no difference anyway, because it would have outsped me with any other attack and would have killed me. But I wanted to see, I just wanted to test the water to see if I could actually get a little bit of damage off against it. But no, she is Dry Skin, makes perfect sense, but it means that my Rotom coming back in now would completely and utterly KO that if it stayed in. With Volt Switch, it means that Ape Wonder, the Medicham, is coming back in. I know my Rotom does enough damage to take this out, so all I have to do is hit Overheat and hope to God that Heliolisk is not Scarfed. That's all I have to hope. Just hit Overheat and hope it isn't Scarfed whatsoever. We go for Overheat and miss. We go down to the Drain Punch. To be honest with you though, the only thing in my mind there, and I immediately, and I mean immediately messaged Anima asking, the only thing in my mind was Heliolisk Scarfed. Because if that wasn't Scarfed, that would have been so important, because it would have meant I could have killed the Heliolisk with Overheat if it didn't miss, and it would have been game over. But no, as she put it, it was just a kick in the nads. It was just a kick in the balls that I missed that really, because I would have liked to have had the 1-0, that would have been pretty good. But the Heliolisk was Scarfed, it would have KO'd me. The only choice I think I could have made differently there was when it was Heliolisk versus the Azumarill, I could have switched to my Rotom Heat. If I'd have switched to my Rotom Heat at that point, I would have taken a Volt Switch. It would have been no damage, it would have been fine, it would have been it wouldn't have been a great amount of damage at all, because Rotom is naturally bulky, it's not so bad, it's got good special defense, and it wouldn't have been effective. And I could then hit Overheat. It would have KO'd the Medicham, no matter what, and it would have been my Azumarill and the Rotom versus her Heliolisk, which meant that she couldn't so easily click Surf, which is what she had on the Heliolisk. Because if she hit Surf, there's a chance that my Azumarill could have lived it, and I could have hit back with the Superpower and KO'd. To be fair, I could have hit back with anything like the Play Rough and KO'd as well. But upon calcing, with the low health I was at, she probably could have taken me out, especially with Rocks damage on my Rotom Heat. with another attack. Like say if she went for Hyper Voice, it would have carried my Zoom Roll and the Rotomy, so it would have been so bad. In my mind at that point I was thinking, you know what, I have lost this because of exactly that. Unless I outspeed the Haliolisk, it was over. And unfortunately we didn't kill the Medicham to make it that 1v1 ending, but it didn't matter anyway because she was scarfed. And it means that we're in a risky position now. We're in a position where we could potentially not get playoffs. So my team has to turn around, my mind has to turn around, and I have to get back on point. It's been really difficult these past few games because I've been working a hell of a lot. So my mind hasn't been there, but I need it to be. I need to get there. So this week I've got to be full concentration for those Bristol City Fletcherings against Eric and Ashton Akai. It's going to be really tough, and I'm looking forward to it though. You can expect to see that it's possibly Friday. I hope to God it's Friday, and hope to God there's a team preview, but it all depends on my work, how busy I am. It's also one of my closest friends' weddings on Saturday, which means I have no time on Saturday either, and I'm out Friday night. There's going to be hardly any time, but if it's not Friday, it's going to be Sunday or next week, and I'm hoping I can get it to you sooner, guys, but you're going to have to put up with me, and I'm so sorry because of my workload at the moment. But anyway guys, Anima's top now, Anima's guaranteed playoffs, and she deserves it. She has been quality throughout this. She was great in that game, predicting me left, right and centre. She brought a great team against a super defensive player like myself, which she said herself in the video if you haven't seen it. She did say, I'm a super defensive player, and that's what she noticed. And to be honest, I don't know what, I kind of take that as a compliment. Not because she could predict me, that's not great, is it? But rather that I actually have a play style. I didn't know that before. I didn't realise I was a defensive player, and it's quite cool to know that I'm actually a defensive player. I like being defensive. It's one of those things. I like my Pokemon to live. I like my Pokemon to be bulky, and that's exactly what this team is. It's freaking bulk. But I'm waffling on now, guys. Anyway, I'm just excited to actually get a video to you. It's really, really fun to do it, and I'm glad I've been able to. Yeah, sorry there was no team preview, but there's enough apologies from me. If you haven't enjoyed this, please don't forget to smash that like button below the video, and also hit me up in the comments. I know I'm very lax on responding at the moment, but I will get to them, and I will always try to respond. Always, because I love talking to you guys. More importantly though, have yourselves a damn fine day. I'm feeling okay. I've gotten over the loss now. It's been alright. I'm not too depressed. I'm not exactly feeling great, but you know, I hope you're loving life though. I'll see you next time.